Painters create art with paintbrushes. Sculptors create art with ice, stone, or clay. And furthermore, artists create with cameras, with computer programs, or even just with sidewalk chalk. But bonsai artists create art with life itself. Bonsai is one of the most storied, recognizable, and beautiful art forms the world over. And today we are going to speak about the history, the science, and the process of the art itself. Now, 3,000 years ago in Yin and Zhou dynasties of China, a new art form emerged called pinjing. Now, pinjing was basically an arrangement in a garden of trees, rocks, water, and other things to create naturalist settings. Over time, it began to shrink down into smaller and smaller pieces until it became what is called wujing. Wujing is a miniaturized version of pinjing that then would be said to capture the energy of the original and imbue the land around it. Now, it's unclear exactly when it went from Wujing in China over to Japan, but the earliest documents indicate that it could have been as early as 1300, perhaps 1200. There were scrolls with pictures of bonsai on them. Now, during that time, it was mostly a hobby of the rich and, the kind of people who would have time to do those things. It was just more pretty trees, but over time, especially into the 19th and 20th centuries, it became a pastime of the monks and religious elite of that time who saw it as virtuous and disciplined. Now, we know kind of where it came from, but how does it work? Well, bonsai is actually rather complex as a science. A lot of people think that there are particular small trees that people build from, but no, they're actually just normal trees. There is no special tree. They're just normal trees that have been pruned and watered effectively and tied so that they create bonsai. Bonsai is created by taking the branches and tying them, by cutting away leaves until they grow back smaller, and by potting the plant efficiently enough that it confines the roots in just the right way. Now, in fact, it is such a fickle art that some may ask what the point is. How would you even get to that? How do you take such care of something for something as simple as a tree? But bonsai represents more as an art form. It is a beautiful embracement of change and life. Now, there are many things to decide when it comes to bonsai, especially shape, flow, design, and these kinds of things can affect how long it takes. It can go from months to years depending on which you decide. There's a straight that is pretty straightforward. There's the slant, which is slightly harder, and then there's the cascade, where it goes down and around the pot, imitating almost a mountain tree or something that was strangled in nature. It's perhaps the most naturalist of them all. But it also comes to mind that you must decide what breed of tree to use, because not all of them work. Not all of them are workable, and some are just ridiculously difficult to work with. And once you've done that, then comes the hard part. Now, all of that preparation, you have to decide all of those different things. You have to now do the work. You have to carefully prune the tree. You have to water it without overwatering it, and you can't underwater it either. You have to make sure that you take care to pay attention to the temperature, all of the minute details. But over time, the tree will begin to look old. It'll begin to develop bark, and the leaves will begin to get that significant age on them. And that is the core of bonsai, to create something timeless, strong, and unyielding. Now, bonsai as an art form is certainly beautiful and storied. And today we've spoken about just the history, the art, and the science of it. But it represents more. Artists want their art to be alive. They want something living, breathing, and dynamic. And there is nothing more living, nothing more imbued with life than bonsai. Over time, we will grow and we will change. And with enough care, attention, and love, bonsai will grow along with us forever into perpetuity.